Mm. Ooh, well, I recorded a transmission about this a little while ago at the spot where I got the transmission, but it was a beautiful place and there was running water, and apparently the sound of the running water was a lot louder than my voice. So I want to share it with you, and it's particularly powerful. I'm in the backyard of the home that I'm leaving. I'm kind of mostly moved into my new place, and I am sitting at the tree. Sit this way. I'm sitting at the tenacious oak tree that I planted with my former fiance, Michael Gelbart. We planted this tree, gosh, like 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, a little over 4 years ago. And she's just growing so much and been thriving, and I just love her medicine. So it feels powerful to share it here, even though the transmission didn't come from this place. This is really, it feels like it's important. And I've shared it with several people, and the reflections that I get back are that this is really important to share. So and it feels awkward sharing it on a screen instead of talking about it to a live person, but yeah, here we go. So I had my first opportunity of moving up to the Lagunitas Forest Knolls area. Had my first opportunity to actually take a break and go and be in nature. And if you know me, you know that I am a channel, and sometimes I get really powerful information that helps me to manifest and helps me to move through hard things. And sometimes really powerful things come through for other people. And so I went down to this stream just a couple of miles away from my house and brought some tobacco to make a prayer to put down for that land. And before I even got to that point in my plan, this powerful transmission started coming through, and I had felt a premonition of it. I had felt like there was something that wanted to come through me, that was waiting for the opportunity, waiting for my receptivity. So it just started pouring in, and what it shared was the reason for at least some of the insanity that's been happening and why it's getting worse and worse. And the insanity I'm talking about, if you don't know already, is just the disconnect, the disconnectedness from our humanity, the disconnectedness from the earth, from tuning into the earth, and that she gives us our food and our air and our water and like all this stuff that we need to be alive and to be healthy and to be happy. We are destroying it, and leaders are getting caught up in money instead of this beauty. And it's just really apparent that our leaders and many of us, our friends and family, that there's just a lot of trauma and disconnect and disorientation and confusion and yeah, kind of acting almost like we're not really conscious or fully here. And the transmission I got was one of the big reasons for that is because of our practice of doing preservation of dead bodies, like the taking the organs out and pumping full of formaldehyde and other chemicals, and then putting the bodies in these fabricated, metal and wood and satin and all the other things, boxes, and then concreting putting them under a concrete slab. And the reason for that is that I got was that in this human 3D reality, what we experience is that we have our infinite self, our spirit, Some of us are really tuned into that part of ourselves. Some of us are interested in tuning into it. We have this infinite part of ourselves that's spirit, that's it's part of spirit, but it's connected, it's incorporated, it's embodied in a physical form, which is our human body. And at the time of death, the spirit separates from the body, but there are lower frequencies of our consciousness, like our old wounds, our limiting beliefs based on our upbringing, limiting beliefs based on being a three-dimensional human, influences from religion, family, culture, school, our identity, our ego, how we, the stories we create, all the more lower vibrational elements of our consciousness. They stay attached to the body. Like it makes sense. Like we're attached to our bodies. We don't want to leave our bodies. Death is a scary thing. And those fears are the lower consciousness, because the higher consciousness gets its immortality. It's totally fine with letting it go. But there's an essential glue that keeps the spirit in this human form and moving through the challenges and the hard things, which is that sticky consciousness, lower vibrational consciousness. And it was telling me or showing me that every part of us has the opportunity to be immortal. The spirit that leaves and connects back with source or goes into other forms. There are lots of different ways I think that happens, but it goes from the physical body, and then the lower vibrational consciousness and the physical body need to be immortal. They need to go back into the earth and decompose and feed new life. So the physical body needs to go back in and become part of the earth, reincorporate with Mother Earth. Reincorporate, go back in, rejoin, unify into the earth the way spirit unifies with the Great Spirit. And when we started to try to preserve the bodies of our ancestors and prevented that process, we killed the cycle that allows that reincorporation, that connection, that being re-embraced by the mother, that sense of belonging, that sense of return and safety and peace and life everlasting is through that, living through making more grass, making more food that feeds the next generations, and literally becoming that. I got a download about that all the plants are literally our ancestors, because they went into the earth, decomposed, fed the next it's like they are our ancestors. We have been in this relationship of giving and receiving in a really beautiful way, but we cut it off by doing this weird preserving bodies and stopping that process of going back into the earth. And so what's happened is that lower vibrational consciousness, it's just confused, disoriented, traumatized from the separation from the spirit, and it's not able to go and be reincorporated back into the earth. So it's like a ghost. It's like a traumatized, disoriented, desperate, sad, disconnected, already the lower forms of consciousness, psyche, that then are just kind of around, and they want to find something that's living to attach to. So they attach themselves to future generations of that family. They attach themselves to people who are tripping or doing stuff to alter their consciousness outside of a sacred container. They're attaching to very sensitive people who don't know how to put up energy blocks or do energy clearings. And then it impacts and influences very heavily the living human beings and their psyches, and it's being reflected in how we're acting. We're acting like we're traumatized. We're acting like we're disconnected, and we don't understand how the earth and life works. We are, it's so apparent, and I just was so profoundly in awe of that intense. It's like kind of all dropped in at once. I get these things, it's like everything drops in and then I kind of have to unpack it. Sometimes it unpacks quickly, sometimes it can take days, months, years to really understand it, but this one came through very clear, very quickly. And the message was that, first of all, it's important to allow our ancestors, the people that we love, when they pass away, to go back into the earth, to go directly into the earth, to allow them to continue their cycle of immortality. Every square inch gets to be immortal and experience a new reality of life. So that's important, but I have less control over that. and but what I was told as well is that there is a ritual that I need to be doing to help capture, to help call in the disconnected psyches of these people who've passed before us, and capture them or call them back into a sacred bundle, and then bury the bundle, put the bundle in the earth. So I also got that I don't have all of the pieces for that ritual, and that it's a community experience that I'll be doing and offering for the community in groups, and that there is at least one other, maybe more people who have elements to help with this ritual of healing. So this feels really important to me. I'm going to be sharing it in other ways, in other social media formats. But if this speaks to you, please spread the word. And if you're hearing this and knowing that you probably have a piece to this ritual to help return these psyches, reincorporate them back into the earth, please contact me. And we'll be doing these at the Arroyo Bridge, my new home, which is the place that this transmission came from, like basically my backyard. That sacred land just gave me this download, so it feels very appropriate to be doing it there, and at the home, and then at some point it goes back into the earth, so probably around in that area. So spread the word, help me be a part of it. If it's speaking to you in some way, share it, do all the things to help let people understand. I feel like it makes a lot of sense. And that means also that we can do something about it and help things to get better. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time to listen. And yeah, lots of love. Again, transmission from the backyard here at the Tenacious Oak Tree in Oakland. And transmitting to you soon as well from the Arroyo Bridge. Take care, everybody.